We lost our son to suicide December 8th, 2014. And for our experience, it was really a shock. Even his friends, his professors, people who knew him, would never have guessed that he would do something like this.
Everyone is very aware of who he is and what is going on, and it's just like, no, you don't really understand, and we need to help you understand. And so we want to be honest with people.
And I spoke at his funeral. I didn't do the funeral, but I spoke at his funeral, and I put it right out there, and I said, we're going to talk about the S word. We're going to talk about suicide. And we're going to just put it out there, because Ben did not fit what we typically think of as someone who would die by suicide. You know, Ben had his whole future ahead of him. He wasn't hopeless. He didn't come from a broken family. There wasn't alcoholism. There was nothing you could really point to, you know, especially where we live. A lot of it is when you hear suicide, it's like, oh, it's because of the hopelessness that they faced or whatever. And it's like, no, it's more than that. There's a mental illness going on there. Yeah, there's a hopelessness, but most of that is because that mental illness takes you to that place of hopelessness. I mean, again, that may sound weird, but they don't really want to die. But their mind is telling them that their loved ones would be better off without them. And it's a lie. And I think that's the hard part with mental illness. Where's that line where it's just somebody going through a funk or a bad stage, or that really serious mental illness?
Oh yes, I've been to a counselor. I was depressed, and I'm now so much better. You don't hear that from people. But if you were sick and you had cancer and you'd gone for treatment and you were now in remission, everyone would be celebrating with you. But that's not the way that it works when we start to talk about suicide and mental illness. People kind of want to know the why. You know, and all we can do is say, we don't know why. And we have to come to grips, if you will, and that was probably one of the biggest things with grief, was realizing we would never know why. We would never understand why.
And that's the way I look at with Ben. It's a mental illness that took his life. The way he died was by suicide.